Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. This is the Knitty Witch Podcast, episode 9. I am Vanessa Knitty Witch on Instagram and Knitty-Witch on Ravelry. You can find me on Etsy as Knitty Witch Shop, or knittywitch.com will take you to my Etsy store. You can email me at knittywitchshop@gmail.com or message me through Instagram. I love getting messages from you guys and talking and chatting, so keep up with that. I come to you from Dover, Delaware, where I live with my husband Brandon, our children, and my dog Zeus. And I am a retired air traffic controller for the U.S. Air Force turned hairstylist and part-time knitter. So today I have a lot of things that I want to share that I'm excited about, so let's get into some knitting. So the first thing I want to share with you is a couple FOs that I have. These have been a long time coming. So for the first FO, I have my 2021 Rainbows and Sprinkles Advent Calendar socks that, yes, it is the new year, but that's how long it took me to finish them. So here they are. They're absolutely gorgeous. I love this rainbow gradient. I had so much fun making these. I will say that it was a little difficult to do them during Advent season because the delineation between the colors was not that stark, so it was kind of hard to tell where you should stop for the day. But all in all, I just kind of like eyeballed it and knit like a few rows, and if the color started to change, then I stopped for the day, and it all worked out fine. So I am so excited about these, and that these are off the needles and I can wear them now because rainbows. Need I say more? So I'm glad these are done. And then my last FO that I have for you is Little Johnny's crochet baby blanket, but he's not a baby anymore, so let me not say baby blanket. It's his blanket. So I made this. This is a single crochet only blanket out of Bernat baby blanket, and it is a chunky yarn that I just cast on what I thought was wide enough and started single crocheting, and we have this beautiful, it's hard to tell how big it is, but it's big enough for a 3-year-old, and that's, I mean, he's not even 3. Oh, I'm the worst aunt ever. He's 5. So now he has a blanket for him that will actually fit him, because I promised him a baby blanket when he was born, and that baby blanket took me all of 5 years to finish because it was knitted, and I do not enjoy knitting blankets. It's just, I don't know, I can knit an entire fingering weight sweater, no problem, but give me a garter stitch baby blanket and I can't do it. So I finished the little baby blanket that I was working on for him, which I showed in the previous episode. I gifted it to my new nephew, Ronan, who is a couple months old. And now Johnny has his own chunky blanket. So I'm really happy with the way this came out, and he's gonna love it. I can't wait to give it to him. So there's a couple things that I am working on at the moment, and I'm excited to share these with you because these projects are coming out so beautiful. So the first one I'm going to share with you is my granny stripe scrappy blanket that I cast on. So it's funny because I went to cast on the granny stripe blanket months ago, and I have fingering weight mini skeins to use, and I started to crochet with my size D hook, which is a 3.25 millimeter, and I was like, this is going to be 300 or 400 stitches by the time I'm done to get this wide enough because it's in fingering weight. So I got discouraged, and I ended up not casting it on, which was a huge mistake because a friend of mine helped me cast on, motivated me, did it with me, and I was finally able to cast on this blanket. And I think it's at like 405 12-ish stitches is how wide it is. I wanted it to be wide because I wanted every row to be a different mini skein, and I wanted to use up as much of that mini skein as possible. And when I say mini skein, I mean 10 grams, not 20. So here we are. Still got my hook in it. So here is where I'm at so far. As you can see, this is really wide. I like my blankets to be wide. I like them to cover 2 people. Oop. So here is where I'm at, and this is not a project that I am trying to make a bunch of progress on. I'm really enjoying the process of this, and it's mindless, and it's comforting, and it's easy, and it's so much fun to make. So each one of the rows is a different color, and I'm just really enjoying this. So I am adding on a hot pink now, and I am using, like I said, my furls. I love these furls. You guys know that. My 3.25 millimeter hook, size D. The one thing that I will say that I'm a little disappointed about with these hooks is that they don't have the size printed on them or etched on them anywhere. They come with a sticker, and what happens when the sticker wears off? I'm gonna have to use a needle gauge to figure out. But my thing is, I find when I try to use the needle gauge with the crochet hooks, sometimes I don't get an accurate reading, like, you know what I mean. So it doesn't always come out to be, I don't know what I'm doing wrong trying to figure out the size of these hooks. So if you have a suggestion, if there's like a crochet needle gauge, that would be helpful. I haven't seen one, but if you guys know any, let me know. So yeah, so this is my crochet granny stripe blanket that I have been working on, and this is living in my Magner & Co bag, which is a brand I found. It's a wax canvas bag, and I absolutely love it. You can pull that right there, and then you have these leather handles. So I love this bag, would recommend, and I am loving this project. The next thing I'm working on is, okay, so I haven't been working on it consistently because, like I said, I can knit an entire fingering weight sweater, no problem, but give me garter stitch in a blanket or a scarf and I am struggling, guys, like struggling to finish the scarf, and I don't know why. It is so beautiful, and I'm talking about my garter stitch, just simple scarf. And I made this and am making this out of Cascade Eco Duo, which is you can see the halo on this yarn. It is very, very fuzzy and very soft. It is so beautiful. Here is the ball band, the Cascade Eco Duo, and this is undyed baby alpaca and undyed merino wool. So 70% baby alpaca and 30% undyed merino wool, just natural. And I needed to make this long because my friend who it's for, who I'm gifting it to, likes to wear the scarf around and then still have some hanging. I have plenty hanging on the side. I did not wrap this right, but I'm almost done. I only have about 5 inches that I need to knit on this. And then the part that's really holding me up is the tassels. So I hate finishing. I know some people love it. They love like the monotony of it. They love the technique. When I'm done knitting, I want to be done like immediately. So I have to add tassels to this, and I'm just not looking forward. So I've been putting this off like bad, and I really need to get back to it and just finish it, because now we're in spring and there's no point. But I don't want to wait until next season to finish it. I want her to have it. I want to finish it. I want it to be done. So this is living in my Joji & Co. bucket, Pampa bucket bag in magenta. And I really love this bag. I love Joji's bags. I think they're well made. They're a little on the expensive side, but leather plus handmade. They're not handmade. You know what? I don't think they're handmade. But by handmade, I mean small private company. So it is a company that I support, and I love her bags. So that is my Joji bag. All right. My last project that I have been working on, and I cannot put down. You guys are going to like laugh at me. I am knitting another Slipstravaganza. And this time it is in pastel rainbows. Excuse me. So I am knitting Slipstravaganza out of Moonglow Yarn Co. in her Sweetheart Valentine's Day collection. So I will show you where I'm at. Make sure I don't lose my, like this doesn't come off the needles because it's so big. Okay, so here is where I'm at. And it is just beautiful. It looks like watercolor. The way that the colors fade into each other, like the gradient is so beautiful. It's like a shift. At the diamonds, it's called, right here. So I'm making the diamonds here. That's section 3. And the only, same as before, when I knit the other Slipstravaganza, the hot neon rainbow one, I only needed the video for section 2. Section 2 is, so section 1 is the honeycombs here. And then in section 2, you need to see these holes here. You have to create the foundation for the next section. And the way that you have to pick up the stitches on the corners, I needed a little help with that because I didn't understand the wording and the patterns. So his video tutorials are phenomenal. They're extremely helpful. He does them a lot of times in both Continental and English so that you can see both ways how you knit, how it's done. And I think it's brilliant, and it's very awesome of him that he was able to do that because he didn't have to do video tutorials. He could have just let us struggle with the pattern. So I'm not the biggest Stephen West pattern fan because his aesthetic is a little busy for me, but sometimes he comes out with things that are just so gorgeous and brilliant. Like the technique that goes into knitting them is always a good time. It's fun and you learn something different. And I don't know where he comes up with the techniques that he uses. I'm not sure if he's using techniques that are known and that are unfamiliar to me, but that are known by other people, or if he's making them up. And if he's making them up, they're absolutely brilliant. Like I would have never figured out some of the stitches. And I think he's just like, he's like a knitting Jedi master, I think. So I'm having a lot of fun with this. And look at the backside. Like, I can't even, I'm liking the back just as much. Here we go. I'm liking the back almost as much as I'm liking the front. Like, I almost want to reverse this and wear it both ways because just like gorgeous. And this reminds me, if you guys ever played Mario Kart, this reminds me of Rainbow Road in Mario Kart, the course, where there's a rainbow track and everything on the track is rainbow. And that's what this reminds me of right here. So that's my Slipstravaganza 2. I'm calling it my Sweetheartstravaganza for the Sweetheart set. And this is living in my Black Pearl Magic pot leaf bag. This is, there we go. This is one of my favorite bags. This bag is huge. It carries so much. Let's see if I could do this without messing this up. So look at everything that it holds. I have all my skeins of yarn. I have my little knitting notion organizer there, and I have tons of room, and there's pockets. I've talked about this bag so many times. You're probably going to see it a lot more because I have, let me think. I have a decent amount of project bags, and a lot of the project bags I have were not on the, I'm trying to think of how to say, some of them are a little more expensive than others, so I try to get as much use out of my bags as possible so that it is worth the investment. And that's why you see like a lot of the same project bags. They're my favorite and I'm enjoying them. So what I love most about this bag is the colors. I love the rainbow, and I love the pot leaves. It's a marijuana bag, and I am a medical marijuana user, so this bag speaks to my soul. And it is the perfect home for the Sweetheartstravaganza because the colors match. So that is that project. Okay, so I do have a few acquisitions for you. I got out of my house and I made it over to Hobby Lobby. Now, Hobby Lobby is, I think their yarn is better than Michael's. It's a toss-up between the two. Like, I feel like Hobby Lobby's yarn looks more like indie dyed yarn, or more like more of the popular commercial yarns that you find in a yarn shop. And a lot of Michael's yarn doesn't have that same aesthetic or feel to me. I had a friend of mine and she gifted me a set of spiral crochet scrubbies for Christmas. And Brandon, my husband, does the dishes. I do unload the dishwasher, but I am not a dishes person, and he is kind enough to make it that I don't have to touch the dirty dishes. Brandon loves these scrubbies, so I wanted to make more for him, and they were made out, I wish I had it to show you, but they were made out of cotton, just regular cotton, and they're great. And he asked me, he said these would be better if it had scrubby material in it. So I went and I found Scrubology cotton from Yarn Bee at Hobby Lobby. And of course it's rainbow because duh. I got that one. That one was called Rainbow Bridge. This one is called Aria. So this one has more pinks in it. It's like more of like a pink rainbow. I will say these are a nightmare to crochet with if you crochet with them on their own. I had my friend who made the scrubbies for me. She ended up holding, for the next set of scrubbies she made me, she held the cotton with this double so that it had more of a foundation, because let me tell you, if you've ever knit with fun fur, I'm sorry, I have like PTSD from fun fur, because fun fur is a nightmare to knit or crochet with. If you can figure it out and you can get like going with it, it creates beautiful products, but the process is not for me. So I have I also found I love this cotton in this rainbow color. So what I'm hoping to do is maybe hold these, or maybe like these two together and make a scrubby for him. Might even work with both of them, to be honest. And even on its own, I love this color. And this cotton is soft. It's not like the peaches or lily sugar and cream that's kind of like coarse and scratchy. Those are really great for washcloths because they are scratchy. But this is soft. So if you wanted to make, now I have yarn fuzzies in my nose. If you wanted to make like spot cloths or face cloths to wash your face with, then this Hobby Lobby I Love This Cotton is a better cotton than the sugar and cream. And it wasn't expensive. It was $3.79 and I got 30% off of it because they were having a sale. So all of these were 30% off. So that's the cotton for the scrubbies that I got. Then I went to my local yarn store, which is the Yarn Maven. I'm sorry I'm scratching my nose every 2 seconds, but like seriously, there's fur. It's either fur or dog hair, and I'm not sure which one it is, but it is going straight up my nose. Okay. So I went to my local yarn store, the Yarn Maven, and I picked up the Sirdar Snuggly Cotton. It's 100% cotton. I'm also in love with the texture of this and the I don't know what you would call it, like the way that it's spun, maybe. It's just really luxurious, I feel like, for a cotton. It feels like just very worthy of a garment. And I'm going to be making the Carol baby sweater, which is the little baby sweater that I knit a few episodes ago, and it had the cabling down the arms. So it takes about 2 to 3 balls depending on the size. I want to make it a little bigger, so I got 3 balls of it. And I'll be making this in, this is the mauve color. See if it says the name on it. Nope, it just has a number. So this is DK weight. So I got this in this mauve color for my niece that is due April 1st. Her name is Kaylin, and we cannot wait to meet her. So she'll be getting a sweater out of that. And then I also got it in this blue color because I am a procrastinator, and like I said, I don't like finishing. When I knit the little baby sweater for my nephew Ronan a few episodes back, it had buttonholes, and I needed to put the buttons on, and that was it, and I was going to gift it. Did I put the buttons on? No, I did not. I still have the sweater sitting in a bucket with no buttons on it, and too small for little Ronan because he's outgrown it now. I'm doing the same track record like I did with Johnny, like starting something and then just waiting too long to finish it. So I now have a baby sweater that if anyone has a baby boy, I can gift it to them, but I have to put the buttons on. So when I knit another one for Ronan, I'm going to knit him another one out of this color this time. I'm going to skip the buttons and skip the buttonholes and just make the button bands plain. And now that I'm thinking about it, I wonder if I can make a cabled button band. Anyway, this one's not going to have buttons. We are improvising, and no buttons on the sweater. I mean, for babies, do you even really ever button the sweater when they're over 6 months old? I mean, I know that like when they're little and they're babies, you can button it and they won't mess with it. But when a 6-month-old moves around as much as they do, you probably don't want to button the sweater anyway. So that's my story. I'm sticking to it, and that's how I'm getting out of putting buttons on the next one. So don't judge me. So yeah, so that's the 2 cotton balls. that I got from the Yarn Maven. And then the next thing that I picked up when I was there is this gorgeous yarn to make the Thin Air sweater. I think it's called Sweater. Thin Air by Lily Kate. And Lily Kate is Lily Kate Makes on Instagram. This is a beautiful thin sweater that she knit out of cashmere and silk. I did not want to knit it out of cashmere and silk because it is, I'm going to show you real quick, it's natural colored, and I'm hoping that I don't ruin this because I don't wear whites for a reason. I don't like light colors on me, and on top of that, I get everything dirty. I am a child. Like, I do not play nice. I get everything dirty. I'm really hoping I don't get this dirty. So I didn't want to knit it out of cashmere and silk because I didn't want to ruin it and have spent all that money on a sweater that I'm going to get dirty. So what I did was I substituted, this is Juniper Moon Farm Moonshine Fine. It's baby alpaca organics, baby alpaca, organic silk, Highland wool, and recycled nylon. So 30% alpaca, 30 wool, 25 nylon, 15 silk, 437 yards, and it is a fingering weight. Is it a fingering weight? I don't think it's a fingering weight. I think it's a sport weight. Hold on. I am like forgetting I don't have any commercial fingering weight skeins because I am forgetting what number fingering weight is. I think fingering weight is 1. So 2 would be sport weight, 3 is DK, 4 is worsted. Okay, so this is a sport weight. And it is so beautiful and so soft. I got 3 skeins of it, which is enough to make the sweater. And she says if you read the blurb on Ravelry, she knitted out of, I think the pattern says DK and the yarn she used was listed as a DK, but she put in the notes that the yarn was very fine and it wasn't like a DK, it was more like a sport weight. And she suggests using a sport weight instead of DK unless it is a finer DK to get the proper gauge. So I went with sport weight. And even if it is, I have to use a bigger needle and it gets a little airier, I plan on wearing a tank top underneath it anyways because it seems like it's very fine. And because of the color. So I'm not concerned if I have to knit it at a larger gauge and it ends up being a little more airy. I'm all right with that. So that is something that I probably am not going to start for. I was supposed to do this in a knit along with my friends and we all bought the yarn and then our lives got in the way and we haven't gotten around to it because there's so many other projects that we're working on that we just haven't made it yet. So I have sweaters quantities worth of yarn for so many different projects. Like I'm going to be knitting a pullover, a cabled cardigan, a baby pink cardigan. I should have shown you, I'm still working on my Bay Heaven cardigan. I haven't touched it, which is why I didn't show it to you today, because I really have not made any progress on that. I've been working exclusively on the Slipstravaganza, and I probably won't pick up the sweater until I finish Slipstravaganza because I really want Slipstravaganza for Maryland Sheep and Wool, and that is May 7th and 8th, and that is coming up quick. So when I knit the Slipstravaganza the first time, it took me a month, but let me tell you, when I say it is all I did, it is all I did was work on that Slipstravaganza day in and day out, sun up to sundown, and got it done in a month. So I'm not trying to kill myself trying to do this one. So I'm giving myself a little more time, and that means that I probably can't work on my sweater right now, but that's okay. We'll get back to it, right? All right, so My next acquisition that I have for you is a gift that was gifted to me by a good friend of mine. And she sent me a Simply Serving St. Patrick's Day cake slice with, look at the little pot of gold on top. It's got a little pot of gold on top, and it's got sparkles and gold frosting, and she put "Loves You, Wanda," who is my best knitting buddy. And I'm so happy that I went on vacation and I came back, and which is why it took me so long to podcast. I was gone in Florida visiting my mom and my daughter, and I came back on St. Patrick's Day, and this was waiting for me on St. Patrick's Day. So it was a really, really fun gift to open on St. Patrick's Day. And my two favorite stitch marker makers are Simply Serving and Clay Cannon. So I'm super excited to get this. Like, their attention to detail is phenomenal. My next couple acquisitions are not knitting related, but I thought I would mention them anyway if there's any nerds out there like me. I am a huge nerd. I was gonna say I'm a huge gamer, but I'm not a huge gamer. I'm a casual gamer, but I have a huge collection of games. I have not played them all. I have played them all for 5 minutes, but I have not gone further or progressed in many of the games. So what did I do? I went out and I bought 2 more, because that's what you do when you're behind. So the 2 games that I am playing are Atelier Sophie 2, which is a JRPG, and that means Japanese RPG, which is turn-based, meaning you see a monster, you go into a screen, you select what you want to do, you hit your enemy takes a turn, hits you back. You take a turn, hit the enemy takes a turn, hits you back. And it goes like that. And you have time to decide what you want to do. You're not just like going up to something and trying to kill it. And I like that style of gaming. So that is a super cool game that got rated like, I think it was rated like 89% out of 100, which was really good. And then the other game that I've been waiting for so long to come out, it's been like, I think they said the last game, Rune Factory 4, was released in 2012. So it's like 10 years ago. Yeah, I think so. I think I did the math on that right. And so Rune Factory 5 is out. What this game is, if you've ever played Harvest Moon, which is a farming simulator, this is a farming simulator with action and dungeons and adventuring thrown in. So this is a game I picked up yesterday. It just came out, and I can't wait to delve into this one and have a little bit of fun. So these are the 2 games that I'm going to be focusing on in between my knitting. But in all honesty, I probably won't play as much as I want to, because Slipstravaganza keeps like calling to me. Every time I pick up my video game, I play for like 5 minutes. I'm like, nope, I want to knit my Slipstravaganza. So that's okay though. These are fun and I can't wait to try them. All right, so still getting fuzzies up my nose. The last thing I'm going to share with you is a book that I've been reading. This is funny. Let me put out a disclaimer and say, I am not recommending this book to you. This is a read at your own risk book. It is called Tender is the Flesh. It's on Kindle Unlimited and on Amazon. And it's written by a female Spanish author. What this book is about, I read horror almost exclusively. I used to read a lot of fantasy, and sometimes I'll read fantasy, but for the most part, I love horror. This book is like Clive Barker. Someone had mentioned it. She said it was like Clive Barker meets Shel Silverstein. It was like, this book is extremely well written. I will say that. The author has created a world that is completely believable and shocking and horrifying and disgusting and triggering. So if you are someone that is triggered by rape, animal cruelty, abuse, or any of those things, this book is not for you. What this book is about is all of the animals in the world have come up with or have contracted a disease that is so deadly to humans that even a scratch or a bite from an animal will infect and kill a human. No zombies, nothing like that, like just infect and kill. So all of the animals have been exterminated. There are no more animals in the world. There's wild animals like birds, stuff like that, but for the most part, no one has pets. You don't see animals on the street, like they're not there. How this comes into play, because the animals are inedible to humans, humans have now started farming and slaughtering humans for consumption. This book is phenomenal. It is grotesque. The way that she goes into detail about how the humans are kept in captivity, bred, killed, abused, slaughtered, you name it. People, everyday people like you and me, it would be like if they call it the transition. The world changed and it became acceptable to eat humans. So now people like you and me would just go to the butcher store and instead of ordering steak from a cow, you're getting steak from a human. Like I said, I'm not recommending this book. It's not for the faint of heart, but I am sharing it because if you can handle it, it is worth the read because it is so well written and so different from anything that I've ever read. So if you read this book and you can't make it through, a lot of people have put down the book halfway through and cannot finish it. If you read this book, do not blame me. I did not tell you to go out and buy this book. So don't put that on me. But that's what I'm reading right now, and I am enjoying it enjoying is the wrong word. I'm just so intrigued, and I'm interested in where it's going and how it's going to end. So I want to see this story through, even though it is terrible. Terribly awful. Also extremely awesome. So that is all I have for you today. I would love to share a quote with you before I go that has meant so much to me. And that is, it's never too late to be what you might have been. This quote speaks so much to me because I'm older. I'm turning 40 this year. And I had to start over from scratch, leaving the military and being retired. And I had to find a whole new career based off of my medical conditions. I can no longer be an air traffic controller. And I felt like I'm too old. I can't do this. Everyone is young. My time is past. I'm telling you, do the thing because it's not too late. It's not too late for you to be happy and do what you love doing. Make those decisions you love. You know, take it in that direction. You are never too old. Coming from an old person. So I hope everyone has an amazing week. The rest of the month, this is the end of the month. I am going to try to film more frequently. Life has gotten very lifey and has gotten in the way of my podcasting, and I'm not having it. So what I'm thinking that I'm going to do is try to film a podcast once a month and a vlog once a month so that you have 2 things to watch. And with the vlog, it's just a little easier on me because there's not like a bunch of preparation and setup, and I can just sit down in my recliner and I can just talk to you guys. So I'm going to make an effort to do that and bring you guys more content. I hope everyone has an amazing week, and I will see you all next time. Have a good day, guys. Bye.